All her life, she was judged by her skin, laughed at, underestimated. But today, the bullies crossed the line, and she showed them exactly who she is. Before diving into the story, comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the latest stories. She didn't look dangerous. Everyone at school thought Amara was just another quiet girl. She wore her hair in long, neat braids that framed her face like a curtain, as if to hide from the world. She always sat in the back of the class, never speaking unless spoken to, and even then, her voice was soft and measured. She didn't cause trouble, didn't chase attention, and never got caught up in gossip or drama that to most people. Amara was invisible. She didn't join any school clubs. She wasn't on the cheer team, didn't sing in the choir, and had no interest in student government. While other girls posted TikToks or flashy Instagram selfies with perfect lighting and makeup, Amara's profile was a ghost town. Barely a few photos, all of them simple and unfiltered. No duck lips, no filters, no captions screaming for likes. She wasn't part of the popular crowd, the athletes, or even the misfits. She just was. Always alone, always quiet, always watching. But what no one realized, what not even the teachers suspected, was that beneath that calm, beautiful exterior lived a secret. Amara was a warrior, not just in the poetic, she's strong on the inside kind of way. No, Amara was trained. Lethal. Deadly. Even. Since the age of 5, she had been studying martial arts under the strict guidance of her father, a former Special Forces combat trainer who had served in some of the most dangerous missions overseas. After retiring from the military, he'd come home with scars, both visible and hidden, and a determination to make sure his daughter would never feel helpless in this world. So, while most kids were still sleeping or watching cartoons in the morning, Amara was up at dawn, barefoot in the backyard, training. Her muscles had memorized every move, every strike, every block. Her body moved like water, graceful, fluid, and with deadly precision. She could disarm a grown man twice her size. She could drop someone with a single hit if she needed to. Every weekend, instead of hanging out at the mall or going to sleepovers, Amara sparred. Her knuckles were tougher than they looked. Her reflexes were faster than anyone could guess. She had trained in multiple disciplines: Krav Maga, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and even a bit of traditional Kung Fu. Her father believed in balance, strength and strategy, agility and discipline. She could feel every heartbeat before a punch. She could sense a lie just by watching someone breathe. She could shut down a threat before it even became one. But no one at school knew that to them. She was just that quiet girl. Just another background character in the hallways. No one ever asked where she was from or why she kept to herself. No one noticed how she always walked with perfect posture or how she scanned every room before she sat down. How she never wore headphones because she needed to hear everything. How she always sat facing the door. Most people overlooked her. And that's exactly how Amara liked it. Her father always told her, "Your greatest weapon is not your fists, it's surprise. They'll never see you coming." And he was right. Amara never bragged, never showed off. She didn't need to. She wasn't training for trophies or social media fame. She wasn't trying to prove anything. Her strength was private, personal, like a storm waiting in still air. Sometimes, when she walked through the halls and heard girls whispering or guys laughing too loud, Amara would feel that quiet power humming inside her. The discipline, the skill, the fire that lived in her blood. But she kept it buried, hidden, controlled. She wasn't trying to be a hero. She wasn't looking for a fight. But if the fight came to her, she was ready. And the day was coming, sooner than anyone expected, when Amara would be forced to reveal exactly who she was. When the masks would fall, and the quiet girl in the back of the class would become the center of everyone's attention. Because sometimes the most dangerous person in the room is the one you never see coming. And Amara? She was the storm you didn't notice until it was too late. The bully strike. Then came Jenna and her crew, the classic mean girls. Everyone knew them. The loud, entitled, painfully confident trio who floated through school like they owned it. Jenna was the ringleader, tall, blonde, sharp-tongued, and born into the kind of privilege that made cruelty feel like a sport. Her two shadows, Lexi and Brianna, followed close behind, always laughing at the wrong times, always echoing whatever Jenna said, like backup singers to a bitter anthem. From the very first day Amara walked into school, they didn't like her. And it wasn't just because she was new. It was something deeper, something uglier. They hated her because she didn't play their game. Amara didn't try to fit in. She didn't laugh at their fake jokes or look them up and down with envy. She didn't shrink under their gaze like most girls did. She was quiet, too quiet. And worse, she carried herself with a kind of quiet power that made Jenna feel insecure. Amara didn't flaunt anything. Not her looks, not her intelligence, not even her confidence. She just was solid, calm, unbothered. And that drove Jenna crazy. She thinks she's better than us? Jenna sneered one day in the bathroom, reapplying lip gloss while Lexi and Brianna snorted behind her. Let's humble her. It started small, just whispers in the hallways. Little jabs thrown like darts, designed to sting. Who does she think she is? Probably doesn't even own a mirror. She must cry herself to sleep. Amara ignored them. She had heard worse. She had been trained to tune out distractions. Mental strength was part of her discipline. So she kept walking, head high, steps calm, never flinching. But Jenna wasn't satisfied with silence. Next came the remarks in class. Loud enough for everyone to hear, just soft enough to avoid punishment. Nice hair. Did you plug it in last night? Lexi laughed one day, mimicking the static of an electric shock. Wow, you're so well-spoken, Brianna added, voice thick with fake surprise. Didn't expect that. A few kids chuckled. Most looked away. The teachers said, nothing. And Amara? Still nothing. No anger. No reaction. Just that same controlled stillness. But silence can sometimes be mistaken for weakness. So they escalated. One afternoon in the cafeteria, Amara sat alone as usual, reading a book and eating quietly. That's when Jenna walked past and accidentally knocked over Amara's tray, spilling food across the table and floor. Oh no. Jenna gasped dramatically, hands to her mouth. I'm so clumsy. The laughter was louder this time. Phones came out. Cameras rolled. Someone caught Amara's expression, calm, stoic, unreadable. The perfect screenshot to twist into something else. The next morning, the video hit Instagram. But it wasn't just the tray incident. It was edited. Cut with mocking sound effects, zoom-ins on her face, voiceovers that distorted her voice, turning her words into something alien. One clip zoomed in on her skin, paired with a comment that read, did she bathe in cocoa butter or what? The comments were worse. Who does she think she is? Silent weirdo. She looks like she's about to cast a spell or something. And suddenly, it wasn't just Jenna's crew. Other students started joining in, reposting, sharing, even laughing when Amara walked by. It was humiliating, cruel, targeted, and relentless. But Amara still said nothing. Her father had always told her, you don't respond to noise. You respond to threats. There's a difference. So she didn't cry. She didn't lash out. She didn't run to a teacher or a counselor. She absorbed it, sat with it, let it fuel the fire slowly building inside her. Because while the bullies thought they were breaking her down, they were really doing something else. They were waking her up. Each insult became a reminder of her training. Each laugh sharpened her resolve. Each cruel word reminded her why she trained all those years, not just to protect herself, but to know her worth when the world tried to strip it away. And one day soon, Jenna and her girls would realize the truth. They weren't picking on some helpless girl. They were poking a sleeping lion. And lions? They don't roar when they're angry. They wait, and then they strike. They went too far. The bullying escalated. The whispers weren't whispers anymore. They were loud now, bold, unafraid, mocking her in the hallways, shoving notes into her locker that said things like, mute queen, and go back to wherever you came from. Every day, Amara walked through it like fog, silent, untouched on the outside, but deep inside, a quiet storm had begun to form. Her chest burned, not with anger, but with pressure, the pressure of constantly holding herself together while the world tried to rip her apart. And then came that day. It was a Friday, warm and bright, the kind of day that usually made kids feel restless and wild. Lunch was outside in the courtyard. The breeze was soft, and the sky was clear, the kind of perfect day that somehow made what happened feel even uglier. Amara was walking alone toward her usual bench, book in hand, earbuds in, though she wasn't playing any music, just listening. Always listening, that's when Jenna's voice sliced through the air like a blade. Well, look who finally crawled out of her cave. Amara didn't turn around. She didn't need to. She knew that voice, knew the rhythm of that cruelty. Then came the footsteps, multiple pairs, surrounding her. She looked up. They had encircled her. Jenna, Lexi, Brianna, and two more girls she didn't even recognize. Phones were out. Recording. Always recording. Amara stood still, her face unreadable. "Let's see how royal you really are," Jenna sneered, stepping close enough for Amara to feel her perfume, sharp and sweet, like rotting fruit. She shoved Amara hard, knocking her slightly off balance. Her bag almost hit the ground. "You gonna cry now, princess?" she said, voice full of venom. Still, Amara said nothing. But her silence wasn't the same anymore. It wasn't quiet submission. It was something else. Something sharper. She looked around. Students nearby were frozen in place. Some were laughing nervously, some whispering. Others just held up their phones, watching like it was a show. And that's when something inside Amara snapped. But not in the way Jenna expected. It wasn't rage. It wasn't hate. It was clarity. Amara exhaled slowly. Then, with deliberate calm, she set her bag down at her feet. She stood tall, taller than she ever had before. Her shoulders rolled back, her gaze steady. Then she spoke. Not loud, but clear, every syllable like a stone skipping across water. "Do you really want to do this?" Jenna blinked, thrown off, just for a second. "What?" Amara's voice didn't shake. "Do you really want to find out who I am?" The girls behind Jenna laughed. Even Jenna gave a short, sharp chuckle. "What? You gonna hit me now?" Amara didn't flinch. She looked Jenna dead in the eyes, not with hate, but with purpose. "I don't fight because I'm angry," she said quietly. "I fight when I have to protect myself." Jenna rolled her eyes and lunged forward, hand outstretched for another shove. But this time, Amara moved, fast, faster than anyone expected. In one clean, fluid motion, she sidestepped the shove and used Jenna's momentum against her, redirecting it so that Jenna stumbled forward, hard. She caught herself just before hitting the ground. The courtyard gasped. "What the?" Jenna snapped, spinning around. Too late. Amara was ready. When Jenna charged again, arms flailing, Amara didn't strike first. She blocked, effortlessly, like she'd done it 1,000 times. Her stance was firm, her balance perfect. Every movement was practiced, precise. Jenna tried to grab her again, but Amara swept her leg gently, just enough to make Jenna lose her footing. This time, she did fall, right into the dirt. Laughter erupted. Phones caught every angle. Jenna scrambled up, face red, fury in her eyes. But now, something else was there too. Fear. "You freak." Jenna shrieked, brushing dirt off her clothes. Amara didn't move, didn't smile, didn't gloat. She just said, "This is your warning." Jenna looked like she wanted to scream, to throw herself at Amara, but something stopped her. Maybe it was the silence of the crowd. Maybe it was the way Amara didn't even raise her fists. Maybe it was the realization that she had just lost, not just the fight, but the power. Because for the first time, everyone saw the truth. Amara wasn't weak. She wasn't the quiet girl anymore. She was something else entirely, and they'd never look at her the same way again. She unleashed the warrior. Time seemed to freeze the moment Jenna lunged at everyone else. It was chaos, a blur of motion, a flash of arms, a shriek of rage. But to Amara, it was slow, clear, calculated. She had trained for this, not just for the physicality, but for the discipline, for the control. Her father had drilled it into her. True power isn't in striking first. It's in knowing when not to strike at all. And so, when Jenna lunged recklessly toward her, Amara didn't flinch. She moved in one swift, practiced motion. Amara sidestepped, caught Jenna's wrist mid-air, and twisted it gently. Not enough to injure, but enough to disarm. Her other hand rested on Jenna's back, guiding her forward. She used Jenna's own momentum to bring her to the ground. Softly, but with undeniable force, it looked almost like a dance. Fluid, effortless, gasps rippled through the courtyard like a wave. Phones trembled in hands. Eyes widened. Mouths hung open. The queen bee had just been taken down, without a punch, without a shout. Jenna scrambled to her feet, red-faced and wild-eyed. Her pride was bruised more than her body. She wasn't used to being touched, let alone taken down. Her fury boiled over. "You freak!" she screamed, voice cracking, and then she charged again. This time, both fists flying in wild, sloppy arcs. But Amara? She was still, still as water before it flows. She waited until the last second, then ducked beneath the swing, spun behind. Jenna tapped her lightly on the shoulder to turn her, and swept her legs clean out from under her. Jenna slammed to the ground with a grunt, hard this time. And then, silence. Pure, stunned silence. The courtyard froze. No laughter now. No snide comments. Just stunned teenagers, holding their breath, trying to understand what they had just witnessed. Amara stood over Jenna, eyes calm, breathing steady. Her hands stayed open, relaxed, ready, but not aggressive. She didn't hit her. She didn't stomp or scream. She didn't need to. Her strength spoke without violence. Her precision, her control, it was undeniable and terrifying. Jenna groaned, trying to sit up, but the fear in her eyes told the truth. She wasn't used to losing. She wasn't used to being vulnerable. And now, lying in the dirt in front of dozens of cameras and classmates, she realized something that hit harder than any strike. She was not in control anymore. Amara bent down slowly and picked up her bag. She dusted off her clothes, adjusted her braids, and stood up tall, the sun catching her face, her eyes glowing with quiet fire. She looked at the crowd, at every phone, every frozen stare, every kid who once laughed or stayed silent while. She was mocked, and then she spoke, clear, strong, unapologetic. "Just because I'm quiet," she said, voice ringing across the courtyard, "doesn't mean I'm weak." Her gaze shifted, sweeping across the students. "Not angry, not proud, just true. And just because I'm black," she continued, "doesn't mean I'll tolerate disrespect." No one said a word, and no one could. Amara didn't wait for applause. She didn't need it. She simply turned, slung her bag over her shoulder, and walked away, head high, steps steady, like a queen leaving her throne. And for the first time, no one saw her as the quiet girl. They saw her as she truly was, powerful, poised, and unshakably whole. Jenna sat in the dirt, stunned, humiliated, and very, very alone. No one reached out to help her, not even Lexi or Brianna. Their eyes were glued to Amara's back as she walked away, as if she had just shifted gravity itself. By the time Amara reached the school doors, she could already hear whispers, not mocking this time, but awed. "Did you see that? She didn't even hit her. That was insane. She's a freaking ninja or something." And somewhere, a new video was already going viral. But for once, Amara didn't care. She hadn't fought to prove herself. She had fought to protect herself and to send a message. She wasn't hiding anymore, and she wasn't to be underestimated. Not by Jenna, not by the school, not by anyone. She had unleashed the warrior, and the world would never forget it. Never underestimate a queen. That video went viral, but not the one Jenna made. Not the one meant to mock, humiliate, or tear Amara down. No, that clip had faded into digital dust. The video that exploded was the one captured during the courtyard showdown. Shaky hands holding up a phone, recording the moment Jenna lunged, and the moment Amara stepped into her power. It showed everything. Amara's calm, her control, her grace, the way she moved, deliberate, fluid, precise. No punches thrown, no anger, just a quiet, powerful reminder of what strength truly looked like. Within hours, the video was everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, people shared it with captions like, "This is how you handle a bully." She didn't even hit her. She humbled her. The definition of a queen who knows her worth. The clip racked up millions of views overnight. It was stitched and duet across every platform. People added music, slow-motion edits with empowering soundtracks. Poets recited affirmations over the footage. Artists sketched her silhouette mid-move, adding crowns and flames. Amara wasn't just a viral moment. She became a symbol, comment. Sections overflowed. Who is she? She didn't just defend herself. She gave a masterclass. This is the power of controlled strength. Don't mess with a black woman who's disciplined and done being silent. Meanwhile, things shifted at school, fast. Jenna was suspended for harassment, caught red-handed thanks to the same video, she thought would make Amara look bad. The administration couldn't ignore it anymore, not with the entire internet watching. Students started whispering about how Jenna's follower count dropped overnight. Brands that used to sponsor her little makeup tutorials quietly cut ties. Her popularity? Gone. Just like that. And Amara? She walked into school Monday morning different. Not because she had changed, but because everyone else had. For the first time, people really saw her. Not just the quiet girl in the back. Not the loner, the mystery, the weird, one who didn't try to fit in. They saw her strength, her presence, her dignity. Some kids tried to apologize. Others just stepped aside with quiet respect. Teachers who once overlooked her now greeted her by name. People asked to sit with her at lunch. She wasn't trying to be popular, and she didn't want fame. But what she did want was respect, and now she had it. Everywhere she went, heads turned, not in fear, but in admiration, because Amara had done something that most people dream of doing. She stood up on her own terms, in her own way, without violence, without rage, just truth, strength, grace. She had reminded people of something they had forgotten. That being quiet doesn't mean being weak. That being black doesn't mean accepting disrespect. That being a woman doesn't mean shrinking to make others comfortable. She was a force, not because she fought, but because she chose not to, because she fought only when it mattered, and even then, with discipline, purpose, and power. News outlets started picking up the story. Headlines read, "High school student silently dismantles bully, goes viral for all the right reasons. Meet Amara, the girl who fought back without violence. Teen martial artist becomes unexpected hero in anti-bullying movement." Interviews were requested. Scholarships offered. Martial arts schools reached out. Advocacy groups reposted the video with messages about racial bias, bullying, and silent strength. But through it all, Amara stayed grounded. She still trained every morning, still read during lunch, still kept her circle small, because she hadn't done it for attention, she'd done it for herself. And for every other girl who had ever been underestimated, overlooked, disrespected for being different. For every black girl told she was too loud or too quiet, too strong or too intimidating. For every warrior in hiding who didn't yet know her own power. From that day on, Amara didn't need to say much. She was the message, and everyone heard it loud and clear. Never underestimate a queen, especially not a quiet one, especially not a disciplined one, especially not a black one who knows her worth and knows how to fight. Because when a queen rises, not to conquer, but to command respect, the world has to watch. And the world? It watched Amara, and it would never forget her. Thanks for watching. Collision, if you love this story, hit that like button, subscribe for more powerful tales, and always remember, strength comes in all shades. Blackheart Crown, stay bold, stay true, and I'll see you in the next story.